Shalom, everyone, and welcome. And those of you here, those that might be watching at home, and this is very exciting that we are gathered together. For those of you that don't know, we are Shalom Boca Messianic Synagogue. We've been here in Boca Raton for 35 years. As a congregation, we consist of Jewish and non-Jewish believers, followers of the Jewish Messiah, Yeshua. And we have a very strong connection with Israel on many different levels that we've had over many years. Personally, I'm Rabbi Ira Brower, by the way, and we've been here 35 years. And I've been to Israel many times. We have many friends there, family. I have cousins that are there, and my grandparents live there. So we have a very strong connection with Israel as a congregation. We support and many different organizations there that are involved in humanitarian aid, Ministry for Holocaust Survivors, helping Holocaust survivors. We have one Ministry Hatikva project that we've been supporting for years, and they have a couple of dental clinics. And you say, well, what's the big deal about a dental clinic? Well, you guys probably know that in Israel, dental coverage is not covered. Dental treatment is not covered. And so as a ministry, they opened a couple of dental clinics, one in Jerusalem, one in Haifa, and they use it as an opportunity to obviously help people that can't afford dental treatment on their own. And there's several others that we support as well. And as a congregation, theologically and biblically, we know that God's covenant with Israel is irrevocable. We just read in the Torah last week, Lech Lecha, and it's also in this yesterday's about the promise that God made with Abraham, that for his descendants would be a great nation. They would have this land. What we're talking about, geography is important to God, and he gave this land to Abraham and his descendants forever. And so we're very strong about that and understand that biblically, and of course politically in the Middle East, the importance of a strong Israel as well, and the historic connection between the United States and Israel, going back to Harry Truman going against his own State Department to say, yeah, we're going to vote to support the establishment of Israel as a Jewish state back in 1948. Harry Truman had a good friend. I don't know if you all know the story, but he had a good friend back in Kansas that owned a hat store, Jewish guy, and he appealed to him, and Harry, you got to vote for Israel. He did, and that made the difference. And God said, I'll bless those that bless you. In our country, and you could go back to Haim Solomon in the Revolutionary War that financed the revolution in America, which, if that hadn't happened, I guess we'd all be speaking British right now. Right, Sammy? And, but yet, so there's a long history, not just 1948, but going back even there. And of course, there's always been a refuge for religious freedom, not just for Jewish people, but certainly the Puritans and the history there as well. So I could go on and on with that, but I think it's enough to give you an idea of who we are, what we are, and why we believe what we believe. Basically, we believe what we believe because God said it, and that is enough for us. And we want to do all we can to support Israel, and so we're really, really honored to have Sammy with us this afternoon. And Melissa, I'm going to bring Melissa Berenson up, who is the head of Heroes for Israel, and who's going to welcome us and tell us a little bit about the ministry there. Thank you, Melissa.
Hello, everyone, and thank you. I'm Melissa Berenson. I'm the founder and president of Heroes for Israel Project. I would very much like to thank you, Rabbi Ira, for having us here, and Shai for making all the arrangements. And I will tell you, we did a walk on October 5th, Israel. And the biggest supporters that we had were actually the Messianic Jews. L'chaim was there for us, and it was incredible. So I thank you very much. I thank you for being Heroes for Israel. I thank everybody here for being heroes for the Jewish people in our community. And I'll tell you a little bit about Heroes for Israel Project. We were founded about a year ago. It's our year anniversary. And like many other organizations, we started in the aftermath of October 7th because we saw a need. And we sort of had a threefold approach. Heroes for Israel Project, our motto is this is where anybody can be a hero for Israel, for the Jewish people. And we are big collaborators. We want to partner with like Pause for Heroes, with Shalom Boca, with Temple Beth Am, with other organizations, Jewish or not, as long as they support Israel and the Jewish people. So we will honor you. We will work collaboratively with you, because if you are a hero for Israel, we want you with us and we want to be with you. So that's one of the things we do, and that's one of the reasons we reached out to Sammy, a great hero for Israel and the Jewish people. And it was a fluke. We just Instagrammed him a message and he answered, and it was fantastic. And it was just fortuitous that he's here. So I'm very humbled and honored that we were all working together, because that has been my dream, to bring us together, to work together and to move forward. The other thing that Heroes for Israel Project does here in terms of bringing our groups together, we are here to help strengthen the safety and security of our Jewish communities here in the United States. We are located here in Palm Beach County, so that's sort of where we're starting. But we're going everywhere, and we're collaborating with other organizations across the country to do that. Our main mission, all that we do here, is to support our mission over in Israel. And we support the border communities of Israel. In Israel, they have volunteer security forces that protect their communities, whether along the Gaza border, the Jordanian, the Lebanon, Syrian border, and Egyptian border. And as we saw on October 7th, it wasn't the IDF who were the frontline heroes that day. It was the civilians. It was the civilian security personnel on those kibbutzes. Unfortunately, we all know what happened, but the ones that had the training, the equipment, were actually able to survive, not have people taken. Just having security cameras, just having people who had training. Now, again, the IDF is there on the borders and helping to support everything that's going on. But when the war's over and time passes, these communities will then be there without the IDF right there on the border. They will then have their volunteer security members on the border, even in Judea and Samaria. We are here and ask you to help us support them as well, to provide them with their training, to provide them with their tactical gear and their technology that they need to protect their communities. And that is what we do. And so without further ado, I thank you for your time and letting me explain what Heroes for Israel Project is about. And we're all about collaboration as well. So if anybody has any ideas and there's something you think you need in the community for safety and security, you can always reach out, and we will be here to do our best to support our communities. So I will give the microphone to Shai, okay, and let him go ahead. And we had privilege. They were also at the walk, and they were a big hit. And we were very honored that they were there. And I'm happy and honored to work with you as well.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. I think, collaborating, everybody together is super, super important. It really makes a difference when no one can do it by themselves. And the more we unite, the more we get together and work together to help those in need, will make a huge difference in the future of Israel and the future of the community. So thank you all for being here as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about Us for Heroes and what we do. Tell you a little bit about myself. Some of you know me a little bit. So my name is Shai Maimoni. I was born and raised in Jerusalem, Israel, and I was started my military journey when I was about 14 in high school, and then from there continuing to again then the Air Force. Of course, you probably hear again and again and again about what happened October 7, and I'm going to jump a little bit forward. I moved here to the U.S. About almost 20 years ago, and this is my home now. Israel is the home in my heart, and I know there are a lot of soldiers there who needs our help, a lot of civilians who needs our help, that fighting and struggling with trauma and other issues from the war and from terrorism attacks. We're going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute. But when I came here to the U.S., my goal was different. I came here to succeed. It was great, you know, the new place, all the opportunities and everything. I loved it. I moved forward. We built everything. We started with Dogs, which is the company. We train dogs for regular people and for people with disabilities and service animals. At the same time, we got Israeli Special Tactics Canine, where this is a company that we basically train government agencies and law enforcement and other who needs more tactical training, body language, microexpression, and other counterterrorism. And Pause for Hero was born about a year ago, just like Hero for Israel. It's actually, you know, again, the idea was born at the beginning, right when it happened. I would say not as it happened, probably about 2.5 months later, because I was more of like a zombie for 2 months, 2.5 months. After October 7, I couldn't recognize myself. I was a mess. I didn't know what's going on, I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to help. So I used my gift and my skills with dogs to make a change, and we decided, with my wife Erica, we decided to open this nonprofit to rescue dogs. Actually, we're rescuing dogs. We take dogs from shelters and places that the dog might be put down or need to be adopted, and we rescue the dogs. We train them, and then we provide them for free to soldiers or veterans, wounded veterans, and also civilians with disabilities in Israel. I'll tell a little small story about. We also have a school for dog trainers that my brother runs in Israel, also Wolf Dogs Israel. So we train trainers to become trainers, and one of our students was in the Nova Festival at the time that happened. And actually, you can go on Rabbi Ira's podcast, and you can see that he interviewed her here too. And there's also some other interviews you find about her, but I can share with all of you later on social media the video of what she went through. And basically, around 6 a.m., they had to run and hide with all the shooting and running and tumbling over dead bodies and other things. And unfortunately, she needed to hide under the tank for over 7 hours when she was shot in the thigh, and she had trouble from RPG on her stomach. She survived, and she came here. She's also raising awareness all the time for Israel. She travels all over the world to tell people what it is and the trauma. And when I saw her, and I saw how much dogs can really help people, and after working with so many veterans here in the U.S. with training dogs for them and for other things, we also trained the first Parkinson dog ever trained in the U.S. We trained for diabetes and other things. But the satisfaction that you get out of seeing someone who wasn't able to do much before, the dog really changed their life. Reduce the number of suicide. In the U.S., for example, there are about 7,000 people commit suicide a year by the VA research. So you can imagine now the war is over in Israel. Now we're going to start seeing really what's going on. During the war, you see just some. And some, I'm going to go through some numbers in a minute. Some is just some. Now we're going to see many more, maybe hundreds of thousands more with PTSD and other injuries. So I'm here today to share this with you. We're going to do a little bit of do a little video for you, just a short one in the middle, just for you to get a little glimpse of what they're going through when after they get wounded, so the difficulties they have, and then I'm going to talk about the pause for here just for 4 minutes.
Childhood bedroom, now a shrine. He took his own life after receiving an order to return to Gaza.
This is the vest that he put on himself in Gaza. You see, there is sand from Gaza and dust from Gaza.
He'd served 187 days as a reservist since October the 7th. Here he is discussing the trauma of war with one of his comrades.
We came back. We didn't think we'd come back, but we survived. And now we don't know how to deal with the fact that we returned. That's the problem.
Israel is seeing a wave of soldiers like Elian taking their own lives. 5 died by suicide just last month. Elian's mother says her son returned from Gaza a changed man.
He never left Gaza in his mind. And when he came back, he couldn't go back to work. He was a great father with a lot of passion. And he lost his passion for his children, for people. He was very silent. He didn't sleep at night. He had nightmares, but of course, we didn't know anything about it. He didn't spoke. When we spoke with him, he said, everything is okay.
All right, gentlemen, I want you to repeat after me. This is how I do it. Ready?
going to save you the tears. There is a lot more. There's always more to see. Unfortunately, there are countless stories, similar stories, that they are basically the core of what we do here. That's really why we make that change. That's why we really thrive to make a difference. And I believe that some of those who commit suicide, or those who cannot get out of the house because they feel helpless, if they had a dog with them, they'll make a huge difference. They're going to have a sense of responsibility, of urgency to the dog, care for the dog. The dog can make them feel better, get them the medication, check the house before they go into the house, make sure that people don't get too close to them so they don't develop any panic or a panic attack or anything like that by being in too much in a crowd. So the dogs can do incredible job for those soldiers, and I believe, with the more people will come and help, and it doesn't mean help always with donation or money, also with volunteering, with spreading the word, with telling people about it, letting people know how much those dogs can make a difference in those veterans. But not just the veterans. The veterans, the soldiers are just one part of it. Think about all those hostages who just came back. They're all damaged, and they need the help. And those dogs can help along with therapy. Think about all those civilians who went through the Nova Festival, all those who have PTSD from that, and all those who lost their sons, daughters, parents, brothers, sisters. They're being affected by it as well. So even though I prepared the presentation for you to show you numbers and everything, I thought, sometimes just tell you what I feel. And just from the beginning of the war, you could see just the report. I can open it real quick for you. So since October 7, 2023, Israel faced 20,000 IDF wounded, physical and psychological. 80,000 civilians officially recognized. Many are shy. Many are embarrassed to go and treat themselves because they don't want to look sick or look bad. Don't want people to look differently. But they need help, just not in statistics yet. Thousands are in PTSD. Every time I hear the word PTSD, I'm trying to remove the P from it because it's not really post. They're still going through it. Now, when the war's over, you can see more of the post. Depression, trauma, under-released hostages now, also suffering from it. So behind every number, it's a life. It's a life of a person who dedicated their lives, or gave their life basically, for others to survive in Israel and to help the civilians of Israel. So just, physical injuries, you can see people that lost their arms, those lost their legs, burns, paralysis, hearing, and all those things, the dog can help them. The dog can help those who have hearing issues, hearing impairs, if they lost an eye, if they can't see well, if they need help with just getting into the house. One of the things when you're in combat, I'll share a little more, when you're in combat and you get into house after house, you know that there's a good chance that house is booby trapped. So you basically always on alert 24/7. So when you go every day to different buildings, different houses, when you're ready, there would be either someone try to kill you in there, or might be a bomb or anything like that will prepare for you. That makes you not want to go to your own home when you get back from the war. Those soldiers get back home, and sometimes they're afraid to go to their own home. They get to their house, and they know in their mind they're still in Gaza. They're still in the war. In their mind, they think maybe someone's still waiting for me over there. And the dog can be trained to even go inside and search the house to give them a peace of mind, say there's no one here. Or turn on lights for them so they feel safe when they're going to the house. People don't realize how many things dogs can do and really make a difference. Those dogs, it's like a personal protector, personal angel that really make a difference to those people. 56% of all the rehabilitation cases are psychological. As everybody knows, physical is affecting them, but psychologically it's much harder to overcome sometimes. And many times it comes together. When you have physical, you're also going to have psychological injuries. 99 amputees, and 16 paralyzed soldiers since October 7. And I believe that those numbers are incorrect. I believe the numbers are way higher than that. So, how the burden on society, mental health system is overwhelmed. Now they're going to need a lot more, psychologists, psychiatrists, more people to work in all those organizations to help more. So all the mental health system is overwhelmed. And if it says your months-long wait list for mental health, there's a year waiting list for dogs. I'm talking about years, 2-3 years wait to get a dog. And many of them give up. Many of them will get approved for some reason, and they need to apply again and again to get approved for those dogs. We don't get paid by the Israeli government or anyone. We just do it as volunteering work. So for us, it doesn't matter. Yes, they can contact us. Very, very good question. And you can cover it too. So basically, if anyone also at home, I'm sure there are soldiers, veterans, wounded veterans, or civilians who are recognized as wounded civilians or recognized by the government as someone who needs a dog, or even if you not recognized by the government, contact us. You can go on pause4heroes.org and contact us with that, to the phone number or the email at info@pause4heroes.org, and this way you contact us. We will contact you back. We'll talk. We're going to see exactly what the disability, what you need, and we start right from the beginning matching the dog to that wounded person, disabled person. So when we match the dog, that dog is being trained specifically for that person. And as they train, it can take anywhere between 6 months to a year of training to get the dog to the right level. And sometimes after 6 months, we realize the dog is not a good B2B service animal. We have to start over. And of course, it's supporting and training and vets and everything else. So we always need to be on top of it. Right now, me and my wife, we went ourselves. We want main supporter of everything, but we'd love to have more people that want to support and help us. So what, for example, PTSD, the thing the dog can do, interrupt panic, nightmares, ground during flashbacks. So if it's not a flashback, basically them calmer, reduce hypervigilance and anxiety. Restore sleep and daily routine, because the dog would put you into a routine of what needs to do next. And dogs are so great at it. They're going to tell you exactly when they're hungry, even though they don't have a watch. But they'll tell you. So when you have a routine and you have someone alive to help, to care, you feel alive. You feel like you don't want to hurt yourself, do anything that is negative. You just want to continue into your life and succeeding. Physical injuries are endless as well. We work now with a grain at a training center for mobility. So the dog is going to help someone that lost their balance, and basically we'll balance them there, and we'll do some other job for them that we work on as well, because that person has PTSD and mobility. And he will retrieve items to the person because they cannot bend down and get things, so they will retrieve things if needed, and open doors, and so on. They can do a lot of things. People don't realize how much those dogs really can do for those people. So, like I mentioned before, about the research is done here, 40 to 50% reduction in PTSD symptom severity when you have a service animal. That's huge. 40 to 50%. If I save one person, I'm happy. One. 40 to 50%, that means from 80,000 civilians and 20,000 soldiers, that means 50,000 people that we saved. Decrease the depression, anxiety, better sleep. They help them with medication reduction. Many of them actually reduces the dosage and medication when they start having the dogs for a longer period of time. And improve integration into the family, but not the family, also into life, people, work, community, do things. Don't feel that they have to stay in that closed area and just feel bad for themselves. We're here to empower. We're here to push forward. Even though it's sad, and yes, it's sad, and everything that happened is sad, but it happened, and we can move forward, and we can push forward, and we can use your strength, your voice, every person's voice to really make a noise. Tell people how much they still have hope, they can still survive and continue and really make their life new after all the things that they went through in the war. Just some of the names that you can see here, you probably know some of them already, but there are thousands of them. Noah Ramani, for example, she was a hostage survivor. Service to help restore safety and sleep. Avida Bacha from Kibbutz Be'eri, who's empathy. The dog can aid mobility and independence of that person. Ekani Alomi is a child hostage. Trauma recovery and emotional regulation. We can also move more once we establish it enough and we have enough. We can help move toward therapy dog to all those kids, all those psychologists who help those kids. But if a dog is there with those group of kids that really in trauma and they need to overcome the fear, a dog can really help them with safety and security. Of this, there are survivors, anxiety, mobility challenges, and panic attack, challenge post-attack. So each life is a story, and thus are just 5 out of tens of thousands. So what we do basically, we rescue dogs from shelters, but not just from shelters. So if you know a breeder who might have a dog that might be fit, or you know someone who have a dog that might be a good fit, you can let us know. We're going to try to test it and bring over and find the right disable for that dog and match it together. In the time we talk about the time we train and what we do, PTSD and trauma mitigation tasks. We can do like also brain injury. Depends on the type of brain injuries and what they need. The dog can help them with that. And so many things that those dogs can really make a difference in the people's life. And generally, average cost per service dog is about $25,000 to $35,000 from beginning to end. Some can get even to 51, 52 when you use mobility and other tasks that are more complex. So the rescue, the vet care, the training, the food, the gear, the handler instruction, flying them to Israel. We have also trainers, volunteers in Israel from Wolf Dogs Israel that they specifically contact me because they want to be part of the movement. They want to take those dogs. When we're going to fly those dogs to Israel, we're going to work together with those trainers who graduate or still in training at Wolf Dog School in Israel to help us to integrate those dogs with the injured and continue them also for maintenance later to help them. So everything help rescue the dogs, everything help rescue the people. Whatever you can do is just share the word. That's the most important thing. The more people will know about it, we're going to see a result. We're going to see there. We're going to see a change. And all for change. I'm sure you guys are too. So I want to thank you all for everything. And if you have any questions, I think we're going to be here. We also have some shirts where we sell back. Just everything we sell for it goes directly to Cause for Heroes, just to rescue more dogs and save more disabled. And I want to say thank you to Rabbi Ira and everybody here in the congregation for inviting us and allowing us to do it here. It's really a great place to be. And for all your support in Israel, I can see it all the time. You know, everything you guys do and the people, the community here, and how it's really all about applying it toward Israel and toward the Jewish people. So I want to say thank you to you too. And Melissa, you're really a lifesaver. You brought us here, but you brought us together. And you're like a link. No one knows that. That link is important. So we can rescue them. They can rescue us. Thank you all. I'll introduce Ellen.
I'll just start with this as I do Sammy. As Shai was saying, there's so much we can do. Each and every one of you can be a hero for Israel. You don't have to start a nonprofit. You don't have to go to Israel volunteer, though you can if you want to. There is so much you can do. You can just call up Shai and give a couple hours of your time a month to work with their dogs or to help them clean up or to do a drive for food or anything like that, because then you're a hero for Israel because you are helping him with these dogs to send them over there to save lives over there. Then the other way that you can be a hero for Israel is to listen to this young man, Sammy Yahood, who started an organization called Peace Through Strength. And how you can do that, follow him on Instagram, learn from him. He's here to inspire you, to inspire your children, to be modern day Maccabees for our Jewish communities here in the United States, so that we can be strong here. And we're strong and united here. We're strong and united for Israel. And that's how we can also be heroes for Israel. And on that note, I'm going to introduce Sammy Yahood to you so that he can go ahead and inspire you to be strong and united and have courage.
Wow. Shalom Boka. First of all, I'm speechless. That was just incredible. And I noticed a few things about your presentation. You said from trauma to resilience. A lot of my work has gone from anger and upset and pain to strength and courage. It's the same journey. My name is Samuel, and since the start of the war, I've been known as Sammy Yahood. I was born and raised in North London, in a very big and privileged Jewish community. Well, big is relative, America, as I've discovered on this trip, America. And I how did I get to be standing here in front of you? I made aliyah last year to Israel, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, and I've never been happier. But a few months after the war, I realized that I just wasn't doing enough. I felt I was not doing enough. For years beforehand, I was teaching self-defense and Krav Maga and doing security and volunteering for the Jewish community across the UK. And I still felt like I could do more. Taking many hours of my weeks, every week, to contribute in that way. And I was empowering people and taking people who were motivated by that anger and that upset and that trauma and that fear to take action. These were all volunteers from the Jewish community across the UK who would turn up to learn how to defend themselves and their community so that they could then volunteer to do security outside of Jewish schools, synagogues, and events. So these were parents, uncles, aunties, and siblings taking the initiative. Like we have even here, just showing up and coming together as a community. I still felt like I wasn't doing enough. I'm someone who's got a lot of strong emotions. And if you don't use them to motivate you, then they can be very paralyzing, even if they're positive emotions or negative emotions. What most people don't know is if you like the winner of a sports championship, for example, a few weeks afterwards, you can go through the lowest of low in your life. Because that dropping off a cliff, that happiness, can actually cause immense depression. People who just won a sports championship, for example. So even immense negative or immense positive or negative emotion has to be used as a driver. And anger is a chilul Hashem. We're not supposed to feel anger. So I try not to. I'm no angel. I try not to let it fester for very long. But I really feel their emotions, and I use them to drive me. So when I have upsetting or frustrating time, I hit a punch bag. When I'm happy or I'm excited, I go for a run. Or whatever it is, I use that driving force to push me to do something positive or constructive. And that's why I'm here today. Called it the Protector Mindset Awareness for Self-Defense. So I'm here as a self-defense instructor and as a motivational speaker from a different part of the world. I came from Israel. This is my final stop, pretty much, other than Miami, on my 6-week tour of America. This is my first ever speaking tour, and it's such a pleasure to be here. Florida is like a different country to the rest of the place. In a good way, just to clarify. It's amazing. This is my 10th state on this trip. It's been fantastic. I'm still upright. It's going really well. And what I want to talk to you today is about that motivation and about driving, using emotions, using the things that happen to us or that happen around us as a driving force rather than something that paralyzes us. And I'll link this to self-defense. You'll see why. So I've just mentioned that we can use anything that happens as a driving force. Life, you might have heard this before, life is not about what happens to you, it's about how you react to it. And that's everything from your exam results to, God forbid, someone in your family passing away. It's all about how you take that news, you take that information, you take that pain, you take that happiness, you take that whatever it is, and you use it to take the next step forward and then the next step. And someone who's got ADHD, so my executive function and working on these projects on my laptop is just a nightmare. So when I try and do this enormous project, it's got so many factors, and I just don't know where to start. But just okay, I need to write email first. I need to put title for the first slide of the first PowerPoint. All right, just one step at a time. So you'll be able to. If you look at it as one big project and one big thing, it's paralyzing. The same way as emotions. If you just take the emotion for what it is, it will paralyze you, positive or negative. So that's the reason why I teach self-defense. And how did I get to be standing in front of you? I decided what I was doing was not enough. In the early stages of 2024, I decided to buy a microphone, this one, and I went to these hate marches in the streets of London, these anti-Israel marches. I hate what people like to call them, which gives them legitimacy. They're not pro anything. I went to these hate marches and I went to interview the protesters because I was pretty naive still at the time. I thought I could change people's minds and have a discourse. That was not the impact that I had. The impact that I had, I found out after I posted my first video, and that was empowerment. The same impact I had teaching self-defense I had by interviewing people from the other side. People were not just educated in some way from hearing about their ignorance or getting the perspective of the differing sides, etc., etc. They saw a Jew going undercover, surrounded by people that hate him, without any fear, without raising a voice, and just comfortably standing there and having a discourse. So I leaned into that a bit more. I realized slowly but surely that empowerment was my cause, was my purpose, not education. And as the war's gone on, I think everyone's realized, everyone says, oh, Israel's PR is terrible. I don't agree with that. I think the diaspora's PR is terrible. And that's because we're desperate for acceptance. We're desperate for assimilation, and we're desperate to just be understood. Which makes sense, but also doesn't earn us any respect. I went to the biggest Jewish school in Europe, in London. And by age of 16, I'd pretty much only known Jewish society and Jewish community until I left, and I was hit with a shock of life at 5'5" and 50 grams, whatever that is in pounds, 100 pounds. I realized I had to learn about my identity because I'd taken it for granted so much, not really understood why it was important, why it was integral to who I am, my ethnicity before even. Also, I had to learn self-defense because I went from one Jew out of 2,500 to one Jew out of the one Jew in that building. So I really took it upon myself to start a journey. And at 16 years old, I still didn't really know my left and right. And that's okay because I was 16. But I knew I had to go in a certain direction. And you've got a world of emotions at that age, and you've got no idea what's going on, and that's okay. But as long as you know that you're going down the right path, you can kind of figure that out. The rest is to be done. So that's when I started on that journey. And I had a few wake-up calls after that. I went traveling around the world after a few years in industry. I used to work in construction. I went to places like Egypt and Jordan and Mexico. Went camping in the Highlands, Scotland, and I went all over the place. And I learned a lot of things from that. I gained a lot of perspective from life. I did this all on my own. So the buck stops with you. There's no asking a friend or calling mom up for help, which us Jews love to. I'm going to use just one lesson I learned from this travel. I stayed with a Bedouin Muslim family in Jordan on my own. And for some reason, I decided to tell them that I was Jewish after they showed me videos of them shooting AK-47s in the air at their wedding. They were friendly, all right? That's just their culture. But I helped them herd their goats, loads of goats in the middle of the desert in Jordan. And it was amazing. It was a very real experience. It was hard work, really hard work, because they don't have these sheepdogs. You've got to chase the goats. You've got to run after the goats in 40-degree heat. Also, not that in Fahrenheit, maybe 100. They then asked me to help them slaughter one of the goats. And I see a lot of your faces change when I said that. I mean, my face changed too. I'm a meat eater. And my face, I was still like, okay, well, I'm not going to help, but I'm going to watch this time. My first time, I'm going to watch. And the only way to describe that feeling and that scenario was it was so real. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't negative or positive. I wasn't happy or sad. It was just so real. And they had like 10-year-old kids playing in the backyard whilst this was going on in the same space, which just showed me how disconnected from reality we are. Just so disconnected from reality we are. And I'm a strong believer that what human beings, not just Jews, especially Jews, but what human beings want fundamentally more than anything is security. And we live in these very comfortable, luxurious societies that give us a false sense of security, the illusion of peace. All of human existence, not just in history, but today, are one of poverty, of struggle, of difficulty. We live in a bubble in America, not Jews. You hardly have $30,000 to be earning more than 99% of humans. More than 99% of humans. We need to really understand and be grateful and have perspective just how rare our existence is. And once we have perspective, we can understand just how important it is that we actively protect it. Israelis have that perspective. And they know how important it is. They have to get up and be strong and protect themselves and to raise their kids to be the same. As the diaspora, we've lost that a little bit. We have the comfort, we have the flying overhead, but we're not constantly reminded that our lives are at threat. I believe that self-defense is the purest thing you can do with the 4 limbs that God gave you. Because, yeah, it's daunting. Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, it can be it's anxious to walk into any sort of gym for the first time and do something new, especially in front of people, especially with your body, which you may or may not be comfortable in yet. But self-defense, guess what, is the best way to be comfortable in your body, the best real way to feel comfortable in your body. And I certainly would never have done any of the things that I've ever done if I did train self-defense. That said, I decided it wasn't going to change anybody's minds to any significant level by going and giving these protesters. So I decided to take that defensive approach and that empowerment approach, because I realized that the majority of my viewers were my echo chamber anyway. So I could just sing my echo chamber and preach to the choir, or I power the choir to sing louder on their own. Because the explanation route has not, we figured that out in our hope. Doesn't seem like it. The big Jewish organization still plugging away. But I tried to take a different approach. So I decided that the best form of defense is offense. We need to be in their faces. We need to show them that we are not afraid. We need to show them that we are not going anywhere. And that's not just the Jews. That's people who believe in Judeo-Christian values, people who want to preserve our free and luxurious societies. But as Jews, we are the Olim, we're the light unto nations. We have a duty to set the example. When we have the Torah, and we're supposed to know that we have the book that is the foundation of all of the society that we know, all of Europe, all of the Western world, which believe in tolerance and acceptance and equal rights. All the values that we claim to love, but we take for granted, come from our heritage. So we must set the example. As soon as we explain ourselves, we look either guilty or ashamed of what we should know arrogantly to be true. We shouldn't have any question about our morality, whether we're fighting for our lives or not. It should be pretty obvious to us. So I took this approach. I went down to these encampments, these encampments at universities across London, and I was waking them up at 4 a.m. in the morning. And guess what? They weren't too happy about it. And they didn't feel so powerful then, did they? When one little Jewish guy shouting at terrorists with an Israel flag upset 50 of them. And I encouraged, just from doing that on video, I encouraged other people to do it the same week. One of them got shut down in London because 2 other groups of kids about my age did the same thing. So we have the best form of defense is offense. I want to leave you with a few things to think about today, but this is a really important adage. Your kindness is not a virtue unless you are capable of strength and courage. You can be kind to everyone you encounter your entire life, and it will feel great until you encounter someone who wants to kill you. Then figure out how far this is going to get you. You'll realize your kindness was your only choice. You've got to be formidable. You've got to be strong. And above everything, you've got to be courageous. Courage is the ultimate virtue. It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in. It takes courage to stand up for your morals, your values, your identity, your people. It takes courage to ask your girlfriend or boyfriend about something that's been bothering you. It takes courage to ask your boss for a pay rise. It takes courage to do anything. I think your boss is going to seriously if you approach him with kindness for a pay rise. No, it takes courage, and it takes courage to even understand your own worth before you ask for a pay rise. It takes courage to do the difficult work. We're obsessed with antisemitism because we're lacking courage. I think that's the easy work, antisemitism. Rather than saying, why does it affect me so much? Why am I strong in the face of it? What can I do about it? And on a smaller scale, it takes courage to address your PTSD. It takes courage to address your emotions and your anger and your rage and your upset and your trauma. It really does. You've got to stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself the difficult questions and stare yourself in the eye. And I'm going to tell you what really put me on the map. I did something in the streets of London, in one of the biggest parts of town in London, very little area. These two I've got the same haircut, but image was with the big afro. That's when, with the big flag behind me. I had a UK flag and an Israel flag, and I walked down one of the busiest streets in London on a Sunday afternoon. Liberal area, so it's supposed to be kind and accepting and tolerant, you know, all the words that don't include the Jews. And I walked down that street. I must have looked like a psycho, and I was shouting, "We are not afraid of terrorists. Jewish people will live forever. Stand up for your freedom. You will not have freedom." People looked at me like crazy, and pretty much at that moment, I was assaulted by 10 jihadis, or wannabe jihadis, who did a very good job, because I'm still here. My face still looks just about the same as it did. So that was what put me on the map. And across the political spectrum, I have followers, because everyone, whether they know it consciously or not, wants to be courageous, wants to be able to be courageous themselves. And I'm telling you, it is possible for anyone to be courageous and to set the example for the people around them. You said that it's 40 to 50% the rate at which it heals the PTSD. It's more than that, because you save all of their families and all of the people they come into contact with in their life. They're less likely to have an angry outburst at someone who's serving them coffee. You save his week. Being courageous, being bold, sets the example to everybody around you. So, that's not just self-defense. That can look differently for everyone. And you can be a 99-year-old woman or a 9-year-old boy. You could be 6 foot or 4 foot. It doesn't matter. Being courageous is a mentality before it's a physical thing. But that's a bit of a paradox, because you all know the Navy SEALs, right? Everyone looks up to them. But what's more important for the Navy SEALs, mental or physical strength? Mental. I'm surprised how quickly all of you answered that. Mental strength. You know that. How do you get that strength? With physical. They are put through the ringer, as we say in the UK. You say it? Yeah, they're put through the ringer. I've got an American girlfriend. I find myself constantly questioning, is that a British phrase? They are put through it physically so that they can have that strong mental. And the Navy SEALs, these guys, smashing shop windows because they want to protest this issue, or doing all of these depraved actions in society. The strong people are not who you should be worried about. The most dangerous people in society are the weakest people. From your high school bully to Adolf Hitler. Your high school bully is not strong, it's not courageous. It doesn't take courage to bully somebody. It doesn't take strength. It didn't take strength for 10 jihadis to try and attack me all at once. Not one of them could hit me unless there was 4 of them, and they wouldn't face me on their own. It takes courage to be a bully. Adolf Hitler, I'm calling him weak. He might be intelligent. He was weak because he was resentful. He was hateful. He was jealous. He was dejected. And people like that, they need to go. We usually fit the bill because we're disproportionately successful. We like to assimilate, but also not. You know, we've got all of that. I need to explain that part to you. We have a duty, as I said, to be strong, bold, and courageous, which is why I started Peace Through Strength. Peace Through Strength, that term was actually coined by Ronald Reagan a long time ago. America used to say, we do not negotiate with terrorists, and we are now. We're inviting them for tea. I mean, I'm from Britain, I know. It's essential that we are not tolerant of those who are not tolerant of us. It's actually a Chilul Hashem. We think that our Tikkun Olam mentality will save us, and I'm all for Tikkun Olam. But that has to come from a place of strength and bravery first, to then go on to being kind. It can't just be our only option, because that's just laying down, being doormat. So, that's Melissa's phrase, sorry. What we must do is set the example to people around us. Do we have any questions so far? Okay. Do you have a question? Yeah. As I said, it doesn't matter what you look like or how big you are for courage. Because it takes courage to step out of your comfort zone. I like to say, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. In the military, they say embrace the suck, which is less eloquent, but it kind of, in America they say embrace the suck because you've got to enjoy it. It's all mentality. Like I said, it's a paradox. If you can train your mind to enjoy the pain, or to just be okay with it, to be satisfied with that state, then it changes the game. I am somebody who's learned a lot from chronic pain. I have a very serious injury in my spine. I've had 3 operations, and none of them have fixed me. I've just got to live with it. And I've had it for years. I always wanted to join the special forces in Israel, and I haven't been able to do that. I've got baby cousins who are years younger than me, who are in the army, currently still serving, and were serving on October the 7th. So it's all about making decisions. It's all mental. It's, like I said, it's a paradox. They both are inseparable. We have to be able to just say, okay, I'm going to be okay with being uncomfortable because I know it will end, and I know that I'm strong enough to overcome it. Every single time you put yourself voluntarily in an uncomfortable position, you get stronger and more resilient. Not just physically, but mentally. So years ago, I started doing cold plunges, ice baths. In the UK as well, I had in my backyard. So at 7 a.m. in the morning, I jump into a cold in the morning after my hot shower. Because not just because of all the physical benefits that gives you, but mental resilience. That doesn't just tell you I can do hard things, but it tells you that I can endure pain. For me, pain is less physical than it is mental. My pain is sitting on for an hour. You're trying to type an email out. That's pain for me. We're sitting in an ice bath. So everyone's pain and resilience is different, but the way that you overcome it is the same. So when you get into a physical threatening situation, what's the first thing that happens? Your adrenaline spikes. Adrenaline is something that is a natural bodily response, which can either work as your worst enemy or your best friend. It can either be the thing that gives you concrete boots, like the deer in headlights, or it can be what snaps you into action, what makes you stronger than you ever thought you could be, faster than you ever thought you could be, and save yourself and those around you. But that requires shaping and training. To get to that position, the example of the cold plunge is the perfect example because, and you can just, the same example is have your hot shower and then it cold for 30 seconds at the end and see how much shocks your system as well. But the next time it won't as much. Next time it won't even less because you'll be able to be resilient and you'll be able to step above it, you rise above the pain. And it's so essential for that because, for example, we've got some kids in the room, which is amazing. You've all had maths tests, yeah? And you've all got complex equations to do, and I don't care how good you are at maths, yeah? What I care about is how can you operate under stress? How stressful is the exam hall, right? I mean, in England, we have people called invigilators that will run and look over you like this. It's stressful. Try doing the same maths question you just did sat at your kitchen table after running up and down the stairs 10 times. Guess what? You're a spite. You're simulating that stressful environment, and your brain works differently, very, very differently. Try it. Do 10 press-ups, whatever it is, go straight back into the same maths question. You know what I mean? You can easily simulate just with the cold plunge, just running up the stairs, just with putting yourself in a situation like training self-defense, train that response to stress. And the only stress you have in life is the Excel sheet stress, is the divorce paper stress. All of this stress is super, super unnatural and releases something called cortisol, which is quite literally a toxic chemical that our body releases and it harms every part of our existence. Positive stress, exercise, is meditation, is breathing, is the cold plunge, is those are most of the examples. Positive stress actually counteract the negative stress. So if you're angry at something, if you do 10 push-ups, it goes away pretty quick. Any questions so far? Well, I'm still here. Well, yeah, so as I finished saying, fight for your freedom, or stand up for your freedom, or you no longer have freedom. Two of them were behind me. Someone shouted, "Hey," or whatever. So I turned around just as they were about to attack me. I only hit about 3 times, bearing in mind there was 10 of them. Yeah? The reason I only got hit 3 times is because they're not strong and they're not courageous. The only time they'd hit me is I'm trying to hit 2 of them. The third punches over their shoulder. That's not bold or courageous or strong. Yeah, so it went pretty well. And I like to think that it empowered a lot of people, because I think I'm the only Jew in the past decade who's been caught on camera, actually apart from the other day in Canada, who's been caught on camera standing up for himself. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your political affiliations or whatever you believe, there's a big integral part of you that wishes you could be that superhero, wishes you could be courageous, wishes you could be bold in the face of hatred, and everybody can. And it's about putting yourself through voluntary discomfort. Because to circle back to what I started talking about in the beginning, our lives are only comfort, other than the unhealthy stresses as I discussed. So we have to put ourselves through voluntary discomfort, positive stress I'm talking about, so that we can actually be capable of reasoning with and rising above real stress, like a fight or flight situation, a life or death situation. That adrenaline, once shaped through training and practice, will act for us. You've heard about the mum lifting up the car to save her child. It's not far from the truth at all. You're stronger than you could ever be in a situation of high adrenaline. It doesn't matter your sex or your height or your weight. You can do it. So we had a great class this morning at the Palm Beach Jiu-Jitsu Club, and I teach an introduction to self-defense session. And most of self-defense is principles and mindset, and not technique. You don't have to know how to throw the Christmas left hook or any of that fancy stuff like you see in the movies. It's actually about using your natural response, not just your mental response, but your natural physical response, and training in high stress scenarios. And you'd be shocked at how character building it is. And how are we going to lead this session? I think we should. So that's really important, because boundaries take courage. Saying no, even if someone's offering you a good opportunity, being able to say no takes courage. It's like, okay, courage is doing the right thing, not knowing what's going to come of it, or not, while still being anxious of the results of that right thing. Doing the right thing, saying the right thing, standing up for what you believe in, regardless of what might happen to you. And that's verbal as well. We've become so weak because of our comfort in Western society that we can no longer have discourse about our differing opinions. And that's a very, very dangerous path to go down. In the UK, they arrest thousands of people for the things they say on social media. Could you imagine in Florida, of all places, having 2 state police officers turn up to your door and say, you're coming to the station because you made someone anxious online? That's genuinely what they say as the reason for them picking you up and arresting you. You made someone anxious online. You know how I don't get anxious online? I put my phone down. Yeah. Oh, it's becoming increasingly difficult with the work I do, but that's the path we're headed down. That's why I'm in America and not in England, because I speak openly about what is called suicidal empathy. Yeah, he's incredible. He just happens to be a Jew from a Muslim country. Well, what was once a Christian country, Lebanon. Suicidal empathy is having tolerance for those that are not tolerant of you. And I'm just linking that back to boundaries. Why are we inviting people into our society and uplifting people who openly state they want to rip down our societies? Why are we being tolerant of them? And that's from the Islamists to the people who openly protest on the streets against all of the values we hold dear. And they frame it as social justice. They frame it as if they are tolerant, like I said, tolerant, accepting, and virtuous. But we as Jews should know that that is not the truth. It never includes us. So we should know that it's a front. Like I said, it's always, and in fact this is really important, tyranny, which is the suppression of freedom, is always brought in under the impression that it's in your own best interests. Because it's done by the people first. Like I said, if you can't have these conversations with people who agree with you, then that's the perfect way for tyranny and the suppression of freedom. So they say, we're arresting you because you made someone anxious online. We're censoring on social media to protect you from anxiety online. We'll make you stronger and make you realize, oh yeah, I can turn my phone off. No, we're going to arrest people for making you anxious online. It's always brought in for the people, by the people, long before it's in policy. And America's lucky in the Constitution. In the UK, we don't. That's it. We have become so terrified of being uncomfortable. Well, that's likening people and nature. And just to go back to the Navy SEALs, they're also a sea creature. But, they grow through pain. And if we don't embrace it, we'll just become a victim of it. And that's all mentality. And unfortunately, we live in a society where victim mentality is held on the highest esteem. We're all a victim. And you know what? The diaspora Jews, unfortunately, are the perfect example of it. We are the victims of antisemitism, rather than what can we do to be stronger and bolder and more courageous in the faith of this decline. We should know by now that Jew hatred is not about us. You know the phrase, the canary in the coal mine. Jews are the canary in the coal mine because we are the indicator that society is headed down a dark path. Which means it's not about us. Just why both sides of the political spectrum, doesn't matter what religion you are, they tend to only do one thing. When they're demoralized, they're dejected, they are hateful, they are resentful, and they are jealous. Weak. When people turn to weakness, which is usually from a place of comfort, when people turn to weakness, these fake virtues, as we've discussed, they usually turn towards hatred. So we need to understand it's not about us, but it's actually about combating weakness. And if we continue playing the victim, when I say playing the victim, we are victims of trauma and horrible, one of the most heinous crimes ever committed by humans ever. Just fact. But if we keep playing that card, anti-Semitism, the Holocaust, it becomes our entire identity, not just to other people, but ourselves. Israel is not the same. Israeli identities of courage and of strength and of purpose, which is why they're consistently rated one of the happiest countries on earth, because they are constantly reminded that life is precious, that they need to be living life, and really, really live life in Israel. People in the UK live to work. Their entire identity is their work. In Israel, people work so that they can live. People have the right priorities in work. So I'm going to go back to, I really strongly believe that humans one of the most important things is security. People just want security, right? But we've been given the wrong idea of what security means because our society is so comfortable, we just become reliant on the state police or whatever it is for our actual security and our ring doorbells. And financial security is the only thing to worry about. But we're slowly figuring it out too slowly. But that's not the case whatsoever. We need to be formidable. We are our own first responders. You're your own first responder. You're your kids' own first responder. Your kids are your own first responders. You need to be able to stand up to bullying at all. Fighting back is not something that's oppressive or hateful or anything. Anyone telling you away. You stand up for yourself and you know it to be right and correct, then you're doing the right thing. You can't be tolerant of those who are not tolerant of you. So we are all our own first responders, and we have a duty to be able to defend ourselves. Every single story in the Torah is one of bravery, is one of courage, is one of resilience, and is one of, they tried to kill us, they failed. Let's see, everyone knows it. Yes, let's see. Why have we forgotten that and just turned to that? We're victims, not the victims, we're the victors. People don't respect the victims, they respect the victors. People respected Israel in the 60s and 70s. All the news publications respected Israel in the 60s and 70s. Because guess what? They won against all odds. You look at the front of Time magazine in the 70s, it's like Israel, when I flag waving in the wind, it's just like people respect the underdog. So we have a duty to get stronger together and to never be afraid. There's a quote on one of these outside from the Bible. You see it? Psalms, please. Yeah. Everything about identity is against anger and fear. We are commanded we cannot be angry or fearful. In every single way that they said, Am Yisrael, lo lefachad klal, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Because we prevail every single time. And that's not by accident, and that's not because we play the victim. It's because every time we prioritize life, and by prioritizing life, that means we have to be courageous. So, strength is to bring back courage as number one ultimate virtue, because without courage we have nothing. Thank you.
I would just like to say, I'm just with Sammy. He's been helping us launch. If this congregation would like, where is Clark? Clark? Okay, he might be outside. So he's outside. Okay, so one of the things Heroes has done is partnered with Sammy, with Megan Protective Services, with Megan. I have an American accent with Hebrew words, and so Clark is here, and we also partnered with a couple other organizations called Martial Arts for the Soul. And Clark, come on. So Sammy has been very gracious to work with us over the past couple weeks. And he has really helped us to reach out to everyone here because he's known. So people want to come see Sammy and hear his message, which is an incredible message. And I'm a firm believer that talking is great, but I'm not a person with activity without accomplishment and action. So our action steps, having been blessed with having Sammy here, we are now able to do some outreach. And Clark is here with me, along with a couple others, including Shai, that we now offer you to be able to learn self-defense, to be able to learn gun safety education, so that we can help to make you stronger. And we're going, and that's what we did this morning. Sammy was there with us. We were training, and we had those that were 60-some years old. The young person was 17. And it was a small group. It was a very, very powerful group. And Sammy really showed us that it doesn't matter how old you are, how big you are, what amount of training you have. We have power and the ability to make a difference to protect ourselves, our children, and our family. Sammy always says we have to raise nappies. We have to raise these young people to be able to care for themselves. Someday we're not going to be here. And we have to make them strong. And this gentleman here has been a big part of my life for many years in protecting my children. Now we're working with him for my children to be able to protect themselves. And he's here for you to help you do the same. And I'm going to let him talk a little bit because he has been volunteering this whole time, his time, his company, his service people to our tour. And also when we did our walk, we weren't allowed to have private security per se. Clark got a hold together and he was there with us with the sheriff's department and everything too. This man supports the Jewish community. He supports the community at large. And I really want to give a shout out for you guys, who he is, because he's an incredible organization, and he is here for you to help train, keep your home safe, your community safe, everything else. And we will be doing a lot of programming. We're happy to come back to talk about that. So I just like you like a little bit.
Good afternoon. My name is Clark. I go by Clark. Everyone calls me Clark. It's kind of the brand I built around myself. It's funny. I went to an event. I did a presentation in Delray with Melissa, and someone said, "Hey, I'm going to Clark's event. You want to come with me?" And they said, "Oh, I can't go because I'm Carrie's event. It's on the same day." And they saw each other at that event. I know you were busy, but it's the same person. So a bit about myself. I started working at the Jewish Federation in 2018. I was working with a third-party company, so I wasn't working for the Jewish Federation, but I was contracted through that. And the Jewish Federation changed security companies 3 times since I've been with them, and asked me to join a company coming in every single time. Back in 2023, they were going to the 4th security company. I decided that why not share my expertise on a more macro scale than micro scale, just that the DCC on me started. So I had no idea where it would take me, but I know that I could do something in the Jewish community. And the Jewish community had been behind me for years. the National Guard. I've been deployed 2 times. I've been for 12 years. I'm a combat veteran. I've been to the East, 4 countries in the Middle East, 5 countries in Africa. I've done work inside the country as well, the Texas-Mexico border, you name it. And every time the Jewish community came together and supported my family. When I was in Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, I would get my halal and my grape juice. I can have Shabbat dinner with my soldiers. So they came together for me all the time. So now it's my time to come and give resources back to the Jewish community. I was born and raised in Jamaica, and they got hit by hurricane just a couple of days ago. And every synagogue I got working with, they did their own drive, and they said, hey, it's time to pick it up. We got so many things to send back to Jamaica. So I have a really good relationship with the Jewish community, and it's no secret. The name of my company is the Detective Service. If you see my Instagram page, I have a target event there. I don't care who wants to be upset about it. One thing that Sammy talks about everything for me is courage. It takes a lot of courage to go out there and stand with the Jewish community. I continue to stand with the Jewish community until the last breath.
I'm Baron to share the message.
But I do want to share something that just I feel like I've been on. So thank you. That's awesome. Sammy, really helped it. And as you read out Strength Chazak, came to me was passage in the first chapter of Joshua. Right, spoke after Deuteronomy, after the Torah. Joshua's getting ready to come to the land that we're talking about, right? And it says, no one will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Chazak, be strong, for you will lead these people to inherit land I swore to their father to give them. Right, so we referring back to Abraham, from chapter 12. And it goes on. Just how many times this exhortation to be strong. Next verse. Only be very strong and resolute. Observe diligently the Torah, which Moses, the servant, commanded you. Not from it to the right or to the left, so you may go wherever you go. And then it goes on in verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Chazak, be strong. Third time. Do not be terrified or dismayed, for Adonai your God is with you wherever you go. God is preparing Joshua to do what he called Joshua to do, which is to conquer the land, to take the land that God promised to Abraham, to his descendants, forever. And there's a physical battle that we all know about, October 7th, which is just a continuation of, you go back, the different ones with Hamas, so years, going back to 73, 67, 48, conflicts going on before then, and 27, the massacre at Hebron, and on and all the way back. And did I say something? 67? Oh, okay, sorry, I'm a little slow. Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah, that's good. You guys listening? Okay, yes. My point is that there is also, besides the physical battle to destroy the Jewish people that has been going on for thousands of years, there's a spiritual battle behind it. What is that spiritual battle? And I believe the spiritual battle goes back again to Genesis chapter 12, when God promised to Abraham in a covenant. And whether Israel throughout history was obedient to God or not doesn't matter, because God is faithful to covenant regardless, right? There is a force at work, we call it the demonic realm, unseen realm, that will destroy what God has done to Israel, because if he can be successful in that, he may not have to be a liar. We know that God is not a liar. And we know that in the end, Israel will succeed in establish itself, continue to establish itself. The Messiah comes, returns, look at it, and establishes the center. Zechariah 16, Zechariah 14. All the nations of the earth will come to where? Jerusalem, and worship the King. Okay? So God's not done with Israel.